Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here. In today's video, I'll be talking about a problem that the Washington Commanders maybe figured out during the joint practice against the New York Jets. But a lot of people were thinking this was a problem early on in the offseason. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and that notification bell as well so you never miss a video. Also, make sure you guys check out BetUS, the fastest payouts in the industry. Going to be talking about them in the middle of the video. But subscribe. We're really close to 13,100 subscribers, trying to hit 14K by the start of the season. It's going to be tough, but go ahead and do it. It's free, takes 1 second. And if you don't like the channel after a few days, then go ahead and unsubscribe. But offensive line, it became an issue against the New York Jets, and maybe not the starters. Like, the starters, we still didn't feel amazing about the starters heading into training camp, but it was like, okay, you got Cosme, who's a stud. You got Brandon Coleman / Lucas, who, like, Coleman has some potential, and then Lucas, is a solid backup. And then it turned out to, so far that Coleman's looked really good and has a chance to be a solid starter for them this year. You got Tyler Biadasz, who's a solid, starting center in this league, maybe a little bit above average. Then you got Nick Allegretti and Michael Dieter, okay, not great guards. And then Andrew Wiley, who, you're not feeling great about, but he's not. I mean, he was not great last year, especially in the beginning. I thought he was pretty bad. At the end of the season, he is a little bit better. But the problem is you don't have a lot of depth. You do not have a lot of depth, and the offensive line has been hit with some injuries / other things. So against the New York Jets, Sam Cosme was out. Let me pull it up right here. Sam Cosme was out, Brandon Coleman was out, and Andrew Wiley was out. Cosme out with an illness, so that's not a big deal at all. He's going to be back. Coleman, not sure, but he wasn't even in his pads. He was out there. Not sure what the deal is with that. I heard it was maybe an arm, but they haven't really been very open about injuries, and they don't have to be. So not a complaint there, but I'm just trying to give you guys all the information I have, and there's just not a lot on Coleman. So all we know is he's missed the last few practices, and but he was out there. So probably won't be playing in the preseason game, I'm sure. And then Andrew Wiley's been out for a couple weeks with soreness. Don't know what the deal is with that, but that's starting to become a thing, and he might be out for a little bit. But you don't have a lot of depth. You have Cornelius Lucas, who's a solid backup at times. Sometimes he's good, sometimes he's not so good. But then after that, you don't have a lot of depth. Michael Dieter is like your best depth piece besides Lucas, and he can play, either guard position and a little bit of center, but you don't have good backup tackle. I mean, you have Lucas, who's solid, but then after that, I mean, you see, and this is Lucas. I mean, he's not terrible, but at times he is. He's very up and down, I would say. Here is him going up against Will McDonald in practice, and just like half a second, man. Like I don't even know, like 1 second, and like a little over a second, and he's at the quarterback, and it's a strip sack. So you don't love to see that at all. And that's a problem. This is a problem because you want to put your rookie quarterback in the best position possible, and they're not necessarily doing that with a lack of depth at the offensive line. And the starters, it was never going to be a great offensive line this year, at least. I don't think so. But if they're healthy, I think they'll survive, and Jaden Daniels will be fine. Hopefully, knock on wood, he doesn't get hurt. But I think the offensive line will be serviceable. You got Sam Cosme, who I think has a chance to be an All-Pro or a Pro Bowler this year. And then you got Tyler Biadasz, who I would say is a top 10-ish center, top 12. He's a good center. He's a good center in this league. And you got Nick Allegretti, who's all right. And you got Andrew Wiley, maybe a little bit below average there. And then Brandon Coleman, who has a chance to be an above average left tackle, or like maybe an average left tackle this year, maybe a little bit below average, but eventually he can become hopefully a stud. So that's not amazing, but a little bit better than last year, where they had a bunch of different centers. Wiley was bad, and it just was not good. Leno was dealing with injuries and just wasn't the same. So that he was his first year here. So I think that not only are the offensive line already wasn't an amazing place, but then you add these injuries, and like 3/5 of the projected starting offensive line against the Jets was out. This is not a good spot for you to be in. And you have guys like Mason Brooks, who is last year an undrafted free agent guard who played okay at times in training camp. He's like a third string, fourth string guard right now. And he was getting reps at left tackle. And real quick, a word from today's sponsor. A huge shout out to BetUS for sponsoring today's video. They got the fastest payouts in the industry. And if you use my link in the description, you get 125% sign up bonus up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. And we do have a preseason game tomorrow against the New York Jets. And they got lines for that. Of course, the Washington Commanders are minus 115 on the money line and minus 2.5 on the spread. So, and the total is 34.5. So a lot of different things you can bet on. Check it out. Link in the description. And as usual, bet responsibly. And a huge shout out to BetUS for sponsoring today's video and this entire 2024 to 2025 NFL season. Sorry that the transition wasn't great there, but we were talking about Mason Brooks and how the lack of depth has caused them to put guys like Mason Brooks out there at left tackle. Not sure if he was getting work with the first team or second team. That wasn't very clear. Regardless, sorry, the voice cracked there. Regardless, it's just not a great look for them, for their offensive line. And I think they should go out and sign another left tackle or another backup tackle. They also had Chris Paul out there working at tackle at times. And here's a clip of him in the, 1v1 reps. And he's going up against Will McDonald, and he does beat him. Not terribly like the one with not as bad as the one with Cornelius Lucas, but it wasn't great right there. But it is what it is. Offensive line just is not. It's not great right now. It's not great right now. The current state, at least, with the injuries we have. And that's why I think it's a problem. Not necessarily saying the starting offensive line is a problem, because they do got some guys there that have potential. Sam Cosmi's already good. Tyler Biadasz already good. Maybe can get even better. And then you got guys like Brandon Coleman and, Ricky Stromberg. I don't think he's going to do anything this year, but still, you got guys like that. But just the depth isn't great, guys. The depth really isn't great. And maybe you could sign a guy like David Bakhtiari. I personally am not a fan of doing that because, he's been injured a lot. I think he just really hasn't played the last few years. And I don't really think that necessarily makes sense. You could go another route. Let's go ahead and look up free agent NFL offensive lineman right now. So just looking around, see what's up. So we can go to, the thing is this like, okay, I guess we can look here at Sharp Football Analysis, but there's not a lot of good offensive linemen out there. Let's go to offensive line, but they're going to have to make do. And the injuries right now, they don't seem bad. They really don't. Sam Cosmi's going to be back. Brandon Coleman, we don't know, but I'm assuming he's going to be back. And then Andrew Wiley, that's a question mark, but he's not one of our best linemen, so, it doesn't really matter a ton. So best offensive tackles remaining, Donovan Smith, huge no. I think he's awful from what I've seen with the Bucks the last year or two. I just was not a fan of him. And same thing last year with the Chiefs. David Bakhtiari, I don't think so. DJ Humphries, I'm not an offensive line expert, and some of these guys I didn't watch them, so I don't know. He would be interesting. Believe he played with the Cardinals under Cliff Kingsbury, so that's the guy to watch. Jason Peters is too old. He can still play a little bit, but nah. Charles Leno, no. I guess if he's fine playing backup tackle, okay, but he's not going to want to play backup tackle. He's getting up there in age. He's a family man, and he's not going to want to come back and play for a very small contract as a backup. It's just not worth it to him. Billy Turner, that's something that would be maybe interesting. Dwayne Brown, Riley Reef. I'm sure one of those guys could play. Just do they want to be a backup tackle? There are some, guards available as well. DJ Fluker, Trey Turner, who played here a few years ago. Justin Pugh, who was with the Giants last year. Phil Haynes, some other guys. The names aren't great, guys. The names are not great. So I don't know if the Commanders really can get anyone. Let's see. I guess Connor Williams and Connor McGovern are still free agents. That is interesting. I guess maybe because of his ACL injury, but I thought not Seattle. He's on the Seattle Seahawks, so I was like, "There's no way." I guess they signed him 2 days ago. So that's why this list isn't fully updated. But yeah, they don't have a lot of options here, offensive line wise, and I say maybe sign a veteran or two, maybe a tackle that I mentioned if they're down to play backup. Some of them are still probably dying to play, and you can go ahead and get one of those guys. And I think that's fine, and that helps you out a little bit. But next off seasons, when you need to start building that offensive lineup, go ahead and hopefully Coleman's that guy. You have him at left tackle. Let's find a right tackle. Let's get another guard. And you don't have to do all in one off season, but start investing. Sign a relatively big free agent somewhere on the offensive line, maybe at left guard. And then you can go ahead and draft a tackle or whatever you want to do. Could be vice versa. Or sign a 1-year contract, but a guy that can just play solid for a year for you. Kind of like Nick Allegretti, but maybe a little bit better. Just something like that to put your quarterback in a better position to succeed. That's what I would say. But yeah, that is it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, turn on the notification bell, and as usual, check out BetUS, link in the description. And if you stayed till the end, go ahead and comment down below. Eric Flowers played here for a couple years and was pretty solid. Not in the league anymore. Maybe they can give him a call. But yeah, peace, guys.